Quisiera agradecer al Ayuntamiento de Sevilla y a la Agencia Andaluza de Cooperación la organización de este evento, que es un evento muy interesante. Talking about the contribution of the dense city in the improvement of urbanization, it's a very interesting topic, and I think that it's after Habitat 3, it's one of the main drivers of thinking on changing the approach towards urbanization. And I am very happy that this conversation is taking place in Andalusia, because Andalusia in itself is a model of urbanization. The tradition of the cities in Andalusia, it's very peculiar, even in Spain. It's quite different from the urbanization of other regions of Spain, and it has a lot to do with, of course, history, traditions, the model of production, etc. But the peculiarities of Andalusia in terms of urbanization has been that the cities in Andalusia, they grew out of a rural economy, but with big cities. And this is nearly unique in the world scenario. The tradition of Andalusia is that even in the rural areas, the people live in cities, and then they go to work to the rural areas in a daily, journey, but they keep using the city as their residential place and where they engage in their social activities. As I say, this is a very interesting model, because historically the Andalusian city is a dense city, it's a compact city, and it's a city which is totally linked with the rural area. Then that means that we are now talking about rural-urban linkages, we are talking about food security, we are talking about many of these modern issues, and in that sense Andalusia is in itself a very interesting example. Of course, there are other things that they should be considered about the productivity of the land, the productivity of agriculture. Andalusia in Spain has played a very important role, and not an easy one historically in terms of the agrarian reform. But what is interesting for us now in the 21st century is to take advantage of the lessons learned in the past about these peculiarities of Andalusian urbanization, in order how can we learn out of this past in order to enrich our conversation, our debate nowadays. I therefore think that, of course, in the modern city, if we want to address the challenge of climate change, the challenge of inequalities, the challenge of lack of affordability, etc., urbanization needs to play a very important role. And in order to facilitate a positive contribution of urbanization to these issues, we require a diverse economy city, which mix of uses, living together, residential with industrial zones, with commercial zones and other zones together in the compactness of the city. Compactness in itself, it's very fundamental in order to diminish the energy cost of mobility. The sprawl city generates a huge demand of mobility that at the end affects also climate change, and therefore there are reasons to support a well-designed compactness that can provide quality of life and can help to diminish the per capita cost of urban services and can help to diminish the demand of mobility in a future world where climate change is going to dominate many of our decisions in terms of how we decide to organize our societies. I really hope that this debate in Sevilla it's going to provide light and ideas in order to qualify this conversation and provide new insights of how to address the big issues of urbanization in the forthcoming years. Thank you very much. Muchas gracias, Sevilla y Andalucía, por recibirnos a todos. Gracias.